So, since my upload's currently too crap to stream, I figured I'd finally get around to making a tutorial for this speedrun. I'm going to go ahead and assume that whoever's watching this has already set up DXWin and live split as need be. DXWin can be a bit difficult to configure, so I've made a brief guide that I'll link on, which I have linked on speedrun.com, and I'll also put in the description here. If you have any questions, check out the Discord, which is also on speedrun.com, either about DXWin or what I explain in this tutorial series. I don't know how well this is gonna turn out, but I'll try my best. First up, advanced options. This right here is all preference. Key configuration. The only thing you really need to do is not have jump, well, bound to anything really. I have it on right click. This is because one of the tricks we do, called menu glitch, requires you to walk around with the pause menu open, and to go through the menu we use spacebar, because enter doesn't work for making a save. So we use spacebar. That's mostly it for things you absolutely need to change. Inventory on tab is just for ease of access. Aim is on shift for me. But yeah, that's all just preference. The only thing you really need to make sure is to not have spacebar bound to anything. Game options, this is all preference again. And I'll get to the game. So if you play on the retail version, or the retail exe, which is either GOG or CD install, you can access some debug options with the unofficial patcher. The only things that we are allowed to change is having this map list available, and also the debug menu. I mean, so you can enable the debug menu. You obviously can't use that in a run, but to access it, you just press F1. I'll show it once I'm in the game. But yeah, so this part doesn't affect the gameplay, so we allow it. You can start from 01 House, which is the prologue mission, or the asylum cutscene, doesn't matter, because the timer only starts once you've gotten control of Jack, so it doesn't matter, as long as you start here or here. There's still one cutscene that you need to skip right here. I don't think I mentioned it, but cutscene to skip is backspace. That's a bind in the key binds. Right here. Skip scene. I keep it on backspace because that also allows you to skip diary entries when they're opened. It happens on one level like a little later on. Then probably again other places I remember. So that's just most convenient for me. You can change that, but I don't recommend it. Anyways, you run up here, skip the cutscene, hold right and forward, and strafe out of here. Hit the trigger as soon as possible. You can just whip the camera around to look at it, but that's just what I do. Jump over this, don't get caught. So this is the first cutscene skip. No, I'll do. This is debug options. Don't use this in a real run, but you can quick save wherever you want with it. It's pretty convenient for practicing. Anyways, get here, and you cross this area, like right there, looking at this. and Jack will enter a cutscene. Don't want to do that because it's slow. So easy way to avoid it is just not looking at it.
That's simple.
I didn't quite do it right there, but if you look down, move like this, now you can look at it. I guess there's like a little area past there, but you just need to not be looking at what triggers the cutscene when you pass that area. Here is another cutscene skip. This is a pretty significant one. If you cross the doorway right here, Jack will start to talk to this person. It's unskippable with backspace, so instead, what you're gonna do, you run up here, lean right. Oh, and I should explain how lean works actually. So, the lean right lets you put your hitbox through walls and such. It's very broken because the hitbox is what allows you to, or not what allows you, is what causes you to hit cutscenes. So when I put my head through this area, the cutscene starts. If you lean through this wall, so your hitbox doesn't ever enter the cutscene trigger, like so, you can skip it, which is like the majority of the skip. Well, not the majority, but a good portion of the skips in this run would be doing. There's more to it than just that, or there are more skips to it than just that, but that was a big one. There's another. If you go over there and you look up, there's another cutscene, but it's pretty. You have to look pretty specifically for it, so it's not a big deal. Another piece of tech right now is the menu glitch, which I mentioned earlier. You open the pause menu when you enter a cutscene, which this is. Go down here, controller. I've already went through this once, so it's all set up. But once you go through, hang on, let me do that again. You go down to options. Usually this is on like backspace or something. So you want to bring up the controller options and then to key configuration. Once you do that, once saved to the like menu memory or whatever. So that's all good. So you open key configuration, back out. When you back out to the save in screen, you want to press your inventory key, which to me is tab. You don't do anything here, you just close it again, and you can walk around in the cutscene with the pause menu up. The pause menu doesn't need to stay up here. There are some parts later where you need to keep it open though, but I'll get to that later. Next bit is how you interact with this. You can either lean through the wall here, open the trapdoor, and then climb down the ladder, or, this is the version I do, you open the trapdoor and then lean through the wall and you fall down the ladder. I don't know the time difference between the two. It's pretty minimal, so it's basically just personal preference. I do the second one. And yeah, should probably be timed at some point, but I'll get around to that. Lean through here you still get pushed into the corner there, but you can move after getting pushed into the corner. If you don't lean through the wall like that, you have to get stuck there for a little bit. It's only like a second or two. There's another look trigger here, which is, you get to a certain point, you look up, and that happens. If you just look down the entire way, it never happens. And then you look up at this, and you interact with it, and you can look at the guy as much as you want. But make sure to pick up the crystal.
The crystal's still warm. This tunnel feels like it's gonna collapse in it.
I just realized. Oh. No, never mind. My bad. Okay, go right. Interact with that. When you get to here-ish, you want to open your inventory. The cursor thing will always be on this book at this point, so if you just press the down arrow key, it goes straight to the crystal, press enter, interacts with it. This next bit, also a really small time save, but if you go around this corner, mashing your enter key. Jack will kind of hobble over to where he needs to be for the actions to start. If you run around yourself, so say like this, and like this, you save a little bit of time because he doesn't do that swinging motion to get in front of it. And that's basically it for this level. You skip that cutscene, and that's it for that level. Next level is Streets 1-1.